Welcome to the Sage Thought Leadership Podcast, championing the unsung heroes of business, accountants. Well, hi, everyone, and welcome to our podcast. I'm Ed Kless, and I'm here at the exhibit floor of Scaling New Heights 2023. And with me today is Seth Feinberg. He is the founder of Accountants Forward. Welcome to the Sage Thought Leadership Podcast, Seth.
Thanks for having me, Ed.
Well, first off, Seth, why do you do what you do?
What wakes me up in the morning is knowing that I might have an impact on this wonderful profession. I've been around accountants for over 20 years, observing them, talking to them, getting to know them personally, professionally, as an editor, and now, turning my eye towards being a consultant. I want to see the profession move forward, and whatever I can do based on who I know and what I know to do that, I will, because I know that as part of our great economy is small businesses, and who's behind the success of small businesses, but everyone in this room. Bookkeepers, tax pros, CPAs, enrolled agents, they're the ones doing the work so that people can get to work and have their dreams realized. And it just excites me and motivates me to be even in that conversation.
So tell me, why do you think professionals need to learn to say no more?
Well, the no-brainer part of it is the impact that the last few years have had on, all of us, but definitely the professionals who really were, have been the ones putting out all the fires from the jump, even in better times, and having to go through, just the complete compliance and advisory nightmare that was, the last few years, and just to kind of stay with it all and, answer questions constantly with their clients and trying to tell them it's going to be okay, it wears you down. And I have, for the first time in my 20 years, finally started to see professionals who just no longer wanted to do it anymore. And that was really depressing to me. And I think that the pace of things that accountants go through and that they deal with is a lot of it's by their own making. It's their own design. And their, inability or, unwillingness to just say no, to turn down work, to really say goodbye to clients who are taking up most of their time and not really helping them to have a life. There's human beings, this is obvious, obviously, but these are human beings, behind all of this, and people just need to be able to just breathe and live their lives. We don't know how long that we have, but this is a chosen career, and people have, spent a lot of their lives and time building practices that are supporting other people. You got to learn to support yourself. So by saying no to the extra hours, by saying no to the bad clients, by saying no to, getting paid very little for a lot of work, I could go on, but it is the running theme, and I know that, kind of coming out of, pandemic times, what have you, and it could happen again. Accountants need to set themselves up for success, and I think this is a big way to do it. And it's not a technological solution. It's a mental health solution. It's really just saying, I'm not going to do this today. I'm going to go out and have a walk. I'm going to, I'm just going to not really work with this client anymore. Like, it's obviously easier said than done, but it has to happen for this profession to move forward, for the impact that it would have, the severe impact it would have if, less accounting professionals were doing what they do every day.
Yeah, before we started recording, you actually used the word pain. And
yeah.
So talk a little bit about that. You're seeing people in pain.
Yeah. I mean, literally just wanting to not do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like I said, that was just pretty depressing to me. Like, there was always just the usual kind of, whinging on about, like, oh, I'm out hour 3, with the IRS, or client not getting me, their documents on time, or doing what I asked them to do, or reading the simple thing I asked them to read. And that was par for the course. This is much, much bigger than that. This is just literally like, I am, we all are probably of the age where we saw a network, mm-hmm. and it's that, like, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore moment of just simply losing it. And you can see it on some of their faces. It's definitely gives you pause.
Right. Have you talked to anybody who's been able to come out of that on a more positive side?
Yes.
And what's been, how did they go about doing that?
By the simple act of just saying, I'm going to structure my life, my time. I'm, going to go into this year, not working with certain clients anymore, or, finally charging for things that I think are worth it, like my time and what I get engaged to do. And, or just very simply, like, you know what? I'm not taking meetings on a Friday. Not doing it. My clients can contact me at any time, answer questions, but Friday is for me. And it's just simple things like that. Mm-hmm. And I've got, over, dozens of stories like this of people just going, you know what? I have had enough with this, and I'm gonna start doing this. I know when the tax deadline is. You don't have to tell me, but this is my deadline. This is when I want everything in. Mm-hmm. Those stories, the folks who are still tax centric in their practices. Not that that's all that they're doing, but it's still a very, mm-hmm. It's the bread and butter of their practice. They have learned to control things a bit more, and it's very encouraging to see.
And we have an exit question, Seth, that we ask all of our guests, and that is, who is a hero of yours, and why are they a hero?
Well, it's a good question. I'm a big baseball fanatic. I use baseball analogies in my life. As you know, you've got baseball-centric kids. I do too. And it always goes back to, I guess, my first true sort of sports hero, which is Thurman Munson. I liked the way that he went about what he did. He was made a captain of the team for a reason. The guy was a true leader. He just was kind of quiet composure, like most of the time, but he was a fierce competitor as well. And I like that. I don't think that people need to be like all at 10 all the time, to be like this, like, oh wow, look at that person. They're really motivated. They're getting things done. I like the quiet composure style of things, but like when it comes to like performing, like the everything's left on the field, literally. And I loved how he played. I loved how he presented himself. And it crushed my little kid heart when I heard that he died. I was just like, wow. But I'll always remember that feeling of like, wow, like this guy was just something else.
And lastly, Seth, how can somebody contact you?
Pretty easily. I've got a website now. You can go to accountantsforward.com or just quite simply SethFeinberg.com. You can contact me. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can also email me at Seth@SethFeinberg.com.
All right. Seth Feinberg, thanks so much for being a guest on the Sage Thought Leadership Podcast.
And thank you. Thank you so much.
Review and subscribe by searching your podcast player of choice for Sage Thought Leadership Podcast.